I think our garden's really successful, Molly. I think my way of thriving and surviving is actually to know that I'm in and amongst the chaos of central London, but have my own little oasis enclosed within these walls, this little green little haven, this little oasis that I can look out to every day, and that somehow makes London survivable and kind of take a beat. We have definitely brought
South London.
Quite a lot of Stroud to South East London.
Yeah.
In fact, even the wood from the extension
Stroud.
is from a churchyard in Stroud.
People are really surprised when they come into our garden, and this is just an aside, because in London gardens are often have quite the same aesthetic, or they're done really, really quickly. When the extension, you have bifold things.
And everything quite tame.
Everything quite tame, and also, you know, maybe a silver birch. And it's there's a sort of London aesthetic to London gardens. And no one really sees this garden, and when they come through, they're like, oh, someone called it half farmyard chic, didn't they? Yeah.
Definitely a bit of farmyard about it.
I can't really believe how long it's been since we started doing this garden design.
Well, it's come good, hasn't it? We were actually fairly truthful to the design that we did several years ago. Drawn under the influence of a bottle of nice red wine, from what I remember correctly.
And some whiskey afterwards. I think really fundamentally what you wanted was a garden that was both functional and beautiful, wasn't it? That sort of spoke to the house and the sort of these slanting angles that you did on the extension.
But the extension was built, but we knew we had to do something really special with the garden, but we had to design it knowing ahead of building the extension. So we were sort of 2 steps ahead. Because the extension without a good connection to the garden and a good garden design just wouldn't have worked. It just had to be, we had to be 1 step ahead of ourselves. We wanted to emphasise the length of the garden because we're really lucky just to have a big long garden, so we didn't want it to be foreshortened.
I seem to remember at first not wanting to have all these straight lines, and then by the second glass of wine, the third glass of wine, we're like, plants are going to make it look all right.
Exactly.
It's going to be with
softens
straight
all the
lines.
edges. Nice strong foundations, and then lovely soft fluff around the edges. So we put this funny little egg and dart lead detail in with the view that this sort of, in a sense, makes a little room of its own. And then obviously we've got the terrace room there, and then we've got the sort of the lawn room space there, and then the vegetable growing room down at the end, and then a sort of little utility area right down at the end as well.
I think you have to learn to live with design for design to really work well. You have to see how the light falls over time. In the garden, the left-hand side was constantly in shade, but that was because we had an overgrown bay tree, and we have this tree there. That's all come down, and suddenly that wall's bathed in sunlight until 1 o'clock every afternoon, and it changes the whole, what you can do there, who's going to be there. Actually, now we'd like to sit there. You move with it.
We should be really proud. It's coming together really nicely.